Hi, this is Janie with the League-Kempner house in Galveston. Today we're going to start off with something that is just truly heartbreaking. This is the George Ball house located on 24th Street, which was the childhood home of J.C. League's wife, Nellie Ball. I had visited this house in May a couple of years ago when some of the direct descendants of J.C. League were here for a statue dedication in League City. And I reached out to the homeowners who were Facebook acquaintances with me through the work at the League House, and they were extremely gracious and kind and set up a reception for the League family members to come see their familiar home. And as I was getting ready for Steampunk, I drove into Galveston. There was no sign of smoke. It was just before 9. I loaded up a few tables, got back in the car to head to Moody Gardens to set up, and there was a huge black column of smoke rising up to the southeast of me. And I don't know, something in my heart, I just started saying, please don't let it be the Ball house. Please don't let it be the Ball house. So I raced in that direction, hopped out of my car a few blocks before and ran towards the smoke, and sure enough, it was the Ball house. It was completely engulfed in flames. Just so sad and tragic for the house. But then I later found out that the occupants were actually trapped on the back porch and were severely burned when fire erupts sometimes in this big flash fire, and the flames reached out and got them. So I didn't want to stay too long. There was a crowd gathering. The firemen needed to get in. It ended up they had to call in fire departments from 2 other cities nearby to control the house. And I'll circle back and talk to you more about the fire. We got our booth set up. Everything was amazing. The weather was fabulous. The local artist Elena Sandovici helped us out. She did some really amazing steampunk themed paintings for us to have. Our goal was to attract attention to the house. The people that come to the event love Victorian things. I know they're a little bit out there on the fantasy side, but it's all based on Victorian history, and it's just a fun event. There's about 1,800 people that attend right now, so we had things that interest them, like this little item made of found parts from the house. Children get involved. Schools put on dances and presentations. It was non-stop entertainment, music, juggling, high wire, acrobatic acts. It was just a lot of fun. Our neighbor from across the street, Captain Mike, and his wife came in costume. Pets were in costume. Everybody just had a blast. It was so much fun. Joe and Johnny, the promoter, taking a little break from all the hectic activity of the day. Even the robots get involved. This is a fun little steampunk crab guy, and he's programmed with all these moves and reactions. Like here, he looks like he's scared and contracts. But it was a great day. But we were tired. Kelly was tired. This is her sitting out at the car waiting on me to finish loading up. But we had to get up the next day and get ready for our house.
My baby shot me down.
And once again, the weather was fabulous. We had music. People just hung out on the yard and enjoyed the weather and the day. Thanks to all our volunteers, the yard was looking fabulous. It was just a pleasant day to hang out and enjoy the house. Although we did still have a lot of activities inside. We once again did crafting, but we had a demonstration of bobbin lace, which is really intricate and fun to watch being done. We had a magician again, like I said, the crafting for the kids, but the adults got involved, and then we had lectures and talks in the parlor. It was just a fun time. And tea dueling is always popular, and it's really just an excuse to eat really good butter cookies. They compete by seeing who can dip their cookie in the tea the longest before eating it and having it crumble into the tea. So it's a lot of fun, but like I said, it's just a really good excuse to eat cookies. But all of these things are important to us because we are desperately trying to raise funds for our own fire suppression equipment. That's why we're not doing a lot of paid contractor work in the house. All the money that we raise is getting banked right now to pay for that very expensive system. After Steampunk was over, I did go back and check out the damage to the house. It is extensive. I'm not sure that anything can be done to save it. It's already being talked about. Can it be saved? Is there anything left worth saving? But it is pretty heavily damaged. But more importantly, and I think the biggest tragedy, is the physical harm to the homeowners. They did suffer extensive third-degree burns. They'll be in the hospital for quite some time. And this is just something we don't want to happen at the League house. It's important to protect these structures. When they catch on fire, they go fast. And once they're lost for good. So we first need to get our commercial smoke alarm system in so that we can prevent any kind of human tragedy, and second, get our sprinkler system in to prevent the devastation. The house to the left was totally engulfed in flames. That wing of the ball house that was put to the right as the second residence was damaged, but fortunately not fully engulfed. So a very sad day for Galveston. This is the fourth major fire, 2 with loss of life, that we've had in the last couple of years down here. But then it was back to our house to keep working. Sherry and Tink were out in the greenhouse doing lots of scrubbing. They've got the base painted, and now it's time to move up and start prepping these lower windows. They're very slimy and covered with mold and algae. All that has to get scrubbed off and down to the bare wood. Because we've been working everybody so hard, it was like free day, so Kelly chose to work on her window hardware. So she set up a little station and buffed and scrubbed. We'd like to keep everything as original as possible, so trying to restore these is part of that effort. We do have a little more yard work to do. Beth, our volunteer, came and tackled this one little remaining corner that's been left untouched. We do have a backyard garden tour coming up as a fundraiser, so we need everything to be in tip-top shape. But the backyard fundraiser is part of Clean Galveston, which is the organization that gave us the grant for the greenhouse. So we are really focused on getting this, at least front lower section of the greenhouse, painted so that when people come to see, they can have that, dramatic impact of looking at the greenhouse and knowing that the money they're spending for the tour is going to the good of the community, and in our case, to the good of the League-Kempner house. So a big thank you to Sherry and Tink. They've been coming over a lot when we're not there because they live locally and can keep this project alive. Hey everybody, it's Janie at the League-Kempner house here in Galveston. We are getting back to working on the house. We've done so much in the yard. It's in great shape for our events, but we've got a few little problems in the house we need to address pretty quickly. Way back 2 or 3 videos ago, you saw our electrician Mateo was in the basement working on the chauffeur's quarters, and we came up and we talked about plug placement in this area. So where I'm standing in the parlor, directly below it is the bedroom in the chauffeur's quarters, and once that ceiling's in down there, it'd be impossible to run wires up here. So we have to think ahead to what we need in the walls up here. Now, eventually, we'll have to take that ceiling down when we get into fire suppression equipment and our smoke alarm system potentially, but that's much further down the road. But for right now, we're just trying to avoid doing that like in the next few months after getting it up. So I'm going to do something a little bit scary. There's no way for Mateo to get the wires up here without taking the baseboards off. And I'm a little worried about shattering them. As you can see, everything's in really good shape. There's some signs of termite damage right here, but for the most part, this is good. But what I'm worried about is looks can be deceiving. And when I go to pull this off, how damaged is it, and will it come off in one piece. Now, Mateo talked about putting a plug over here because it's easier to get to, but I think we were all horrified that that would not be good placement. We need one really in the center here. There's already a cutout here, so we'll go ahead and reuse this opening, but I still need to remove the baseboard so he can get the wiring out, get the new wiring in. So y'all have seen this in the past. This is a specialty tool that I have strictly for pulling baseboards off. It's a little worse for the wear and beat up, but basically it goes behind the board. It's wide so that the force is distributed across a bigger area, so you don't get that one point of extreme force to crush the board. It's also got this kind of bulge here that automatically starts pulling the board away from the wall as you tap this down, and it's got a slot for the nail if we're able to find the nail to get past it and be able to put force on either side of the nail. So it's a very clever design. It's also got like some hex things, not sure what those are for, and I guess to open your beer on the job, but we're not going to use those. But I am going to start with this lower trim and see if I can get it off. Okay. All right. Joe just paused to have me check my feet for dog poop. I don't know why she decided not to put that on film. We put everything else on film. Do you need a stool?
No, I was trying to get my phone.
So one thing about these trim boards that I'll say, my husband is very impressed. If you notice, there's no caulk in anything. Everything was put in very tight. The cuts, it's just excellent carpentry work. I think I am going to pull this one off. It's already gapped, and I'm going to pull it off so that I can get this on the end and pull that off, and I'm going to pull that off so I can pull this off and not have it wedged in this corner here. So let's hope for the best. See where the nail is. I'll try to remember not to work and talk at the same time, because then I just have to edit all that out, because this banging picks up so loud on the video. Okay, I'm just going to be gentle. It feels like there might be a nail at the end. So there was a little bent nail. A little debris, but not a lot of rot there. So now I can get my tool on this one. I feel like I'm hitting a nail and not going all the way in. Okay, and we broke it off. So you can see a lot of termite damage and rot in there. So that's okay. It's behind this little trim piece. We'll fill that in. And you can see we've already termite treated in here. Okay, with that, I'm quit talking and just start working my way. Well, actually, I wonder if I can take these off. Okay, here's my problem. Okay, see how this is wide and this cut here? That keeps this from pulling forward. So it's almost like you have to go in order, that this has to come off, that has to come off to get this off without breaking. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, well, it's actually not a single board. It's a trim board on top of a flat board. I'm not trying to force it off all in one spot. I'm going to work my way up and down and gradually loosen it. And I am hitting a nail. I can get in between. Get in between the nails. Nail right there in the center. Need a real pry bar to kind of get all the way down at the bottom there. Okay. Termite damage. I need a little sign that they were here. Okay. This is going to be a slow, tedious job. Oh, okay. So that's not cut at a 45-degree miter. What they did is used a coping saw and cut out the pattern. So this top board goes all the way across and is flush here in the corner. And then that coping saw cut the pattern and in. And that's actually a much better way to do that and get a tight fit. Termite eaten. And well, we can glue it together. Actually, a lot of things can be clamped and glued and reused. Termite damage there in the corner. And now that frees up the corner because it is cut flush and perpendicular. Then it frees it up so this can swing away. It's gonna take all day.
You too.
All right, that's enough for now. I'm just gonna keep working. Okay, there's a reason. There's a reason for this. I'm not using it as leverage to pull. I'm using it to hold this back to the wall. There's so much termite damage in it that I'm afraid if I pull too hard, I'll damage this. And I don't want to do that. And part of the issue is there's some blocking back here that this was apparently glued to the blocking. And the blocking has termite damage, so it's not separating, it's just shattering. So when we get this out, we'll have to put more blocking in, repair all these, and put them back up. But I really do want to get this out in one piece and not mess up this. All right, now it's actually free. What's holding it is the same problem we had down there. Is this is up against it, and there's probably some nails shot right at the end. So I may have to get in here with some nippers and cut that saw. You can see this blocking piece glued back here.
Do you think this was put in the 20s or original?
This is, it looks original. And that blocking is because if you look how this wainscoting sticks out, here's our stud wall to nail to. So, oh, Joe can't get up. Here's the stud wall to nail to. So this board actually sits out away from that stud, so there's nothing to nail it to. So it needs that blocking to go further back to have something firm against here instead of just kind of free floating
Yes, you
out
can see here.
in front. So the blocking, and you can see the remnants of the glue. It was pretty good glue. But we're gonna get all that blocking.
It's actually moving the column.
Yeah, it's moving everything. Well, because the termites are in there. So anyway, we're gonna get that. You can see the termite damage at the bottom. But anyway, we're gonna take that out, and then Mateo will. This is the brick wall on the outside. These are just. They're not like 2x4s for construction, like what we think of.
Yeah.
They're just nailed on there to put the last boards that hold the plaster. So where Mateo needs to drill is basically down here and bring the wire up, cut through here, put the board and put it back. So that's why we had to get this off of here. So we'll have to get it off, take this off, clean it up, repair the chipping across here, vacuum all this out.
So I have a question about that baseboard where there's already an outlet. There wouldn't already be a hole drilled there.
I'm going to go investigate. The problem is it's a different kind of industrial plug than a normal plug. And so it probably has to be attached from the rear. He can't just get it in there.
Yeah.
But we'll go investigate that before we rip that off.
If I hold this out, you could tap behind it with your hammer.
No, because there's no. I just want to try to wiggle the nails free. go.
There it is.
Ah,
Ta-da.
there we go.
Wow, look at all that.
So you can see, so look, this is the trim. This is the baseboard itself. And these are the blocking pieces that were glued on. So what we'll have to do is we can either leave those actually and match these up and glue them back on, which is probably what we'll do because they won't show and they're the right depth. We'll do some epoxy repair on the end of the termite damage and put this back on. So I think we'll just reuse what we have, clean it up, re-glue it, glue it all back up. There's no reason this would be too hard to get this off and put new ones on, so we'll just save all this, put it up on our sawhorses, get our clamps, clean it up, glue it up. So we want to save all this and be good to go.
See, you make fun of me all the
Now I
time for
can't.
not
Now I
being able
can't
to get
stand
up.
up. It's gonna take me a minute. Oh, it's gonna take me a minute to get upright. Okay. All right. So
I think there's a box in the tool closet.
actually, that went better than I thought. And while we're at it, we'll strip this. Like I said, repair. Look at all this termite damage down here, but not as much as I would have feared. So overall, I'm happy with that. So that'll at least. Oh, you still filming?
You said at least I was going to finish your sentence.
Oh, are you still filming?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. All right. So at least it's not fully eaten up and all this didn't shatter. This is repairable. Good to know how it's constructed because that was very difficult. The pry bore actually wasn't going down in. So now that it's off, let me show you what was happening. So that blocking was in there, glued to the board. So when I was trying to go down in, I was actually going into the blocking. That's what made the cuts. And I didn't have anything to pry against because the only firm surface is way back here. So this was put up and not meant to come off easily. So that's going to be a real pain. I don't know any other way
So what if
to get around that.
What if we went in here and put like something to nail onto our
You don't need it.
Okay.
Because you'd have to, there's nothing to nail to.
Gotcha.
I mean, this works.
All that black is brick.
This works. This is just not easy to, like normally you could just go in and pry. But because we're going into the middle of the wood, there's nothing there. So anyway.
On to the next thing.
On to the next thing. I'm down in the pond, and this is an example of one of those free things. I found this in my garage, and it's direct to plastic paint, and it's dark green. And these are kind of big and ugly. And I started spraying the other day as a test, and I realized they were dirty and needed to be brushed off, so I stopped. Of course, then I forgot about it. So now it's very windy. So I'm going to try again.
Try to dip.
So we'll see. But I shook a long time and only clear stuff came out because no telling how long this has been in my garage sitting. You can hear the ball. It's really not loud enough yet. Give it a, there it goes. But it'll look better. It'll look better than it does. Oops. Uh-oh. That's not good. Well, it gummed up. Dang it. Okay, that's internal. Dadgummit. It's a full can. That's the problem with having stuff and not using it, is it will go bad. Oh. Okay, it broke free, whatever it was. Just in case it has any more life left in it, I am going to do this, which blows all the paint out of your nozzle and replaces it with air. All right, better than bright white. I'm not doing this one because I'm going to take that out and make a swale. I'm going to make a ginormous swale. Okay, that does look much better. Not quite as glaring and obtrusive, so. All right, I'll just save this. I'm into messy.
There's a green thumb.
I have a green thumb. With these parting shots of the devastation at the Ball House, we will leave you for the week. Thanks as always for watching. Your support means so much to us, and everything we earn from YouTube goes straight into the house, and it's all part of saving this magnificent piece of Galveston history. Getting that smoke alarm system in and our fire suppression system in is so critical. We have a long way to go, but we are up to the task, and we are going to keep at it until this house is safe and secure. So you guys have a great Easter weekend, and we will see you back next week here at the League-Kempner house in Galveston, Texas.